Most people who experience pain during lunges blame the joint itself. They assume their knees are damaged, worn down, or not built for the movement. But the actual cause of that pain is rarely the knee. It comes from a tiny, overlooked angle just above the hips that is forcing the joint to handle an extreme amount of pressure. You can maintain a tall chest and clean movement. From the outside, your lunge might look flawless in the mirror, while internally it is placing massive stress on your body. When you drop straight down into a perfectly upright lunge, the front knee acts as your primary braking system. Your quadriceps work to control your entire body weight as it travels downward. This diagram shows how pressure accumulates. When the torso stays vertical, downward force travels straight along this axis, concentrating into the patellar tendon. Because the body is upright, the glute remains completely inactive, mechanically unable to share the load. The discomfort you feel is the result of a biomechanical error, putting a smaller joint in charge of a compound movement that the hips are better equipped to manage. A major reason lifters end up in this position is a piece of advice repeated in nearly every gym: keep your chest up. While helpful during a squat, applying it rigidly to a lunge can sabotage your natural mechanics. Locking your chest vertically removes your hips from the equation. It forces the lower leg to absorb the entirety of the braking force, with nowhere else to disperse it. We can test this right now. Stand up and perform 5 slow body weight lunges while keeping your torso perfectly vertical. As you drop down, pay close attention to your front leg. You should feel a distinct buildup of pressure concentrating directly below your kneecap. The mirror shows your posture, but the pressure in the joint reveals exactly how your body is distributing the load. In this case, that pressure is your clearest signal that the knee is overloaded. To fix this, adjust your torso angle by hinging slightly forward at the hips, creating a precise 15-degree lean. This is an active, athletic position. You are not simply slouching your shoulders or collapsing at the waist. Shift your ribs slightly forward over your thigh, keeping your spine rigid. The internal line of tension moves backward, leaving the vulnerable knee structures. It travels into the hip joint, recruiting the gluteus maximus to power the ascent. You have transitioned out of a vulnerable knee-dominant pattern and into a powerful hip-dominant pattern. Anchor your lower body before initiating the lunge. Establish full foot pressure by planting your heel, big toe, and little toe to create a solid tripod. As you rise out of the bottom of the movement, actively push the floor away with that grounded foot and squeeze your glute. Do not think about pulling your body up with your knee. There are a few ways to misinterpret this stance. The most common error is rounding your spine. If you let your upper back curl forward, you dump stress across your lower back instead of properly loading the glute. Next, watch the path of your front leg. If your front knee begins caving inward toward your midline, your hip has lost control. Keep the knee tracking in the exact same direction as your toes. If you lift your heel and push off the ground using only your toes, you immediately send destructive pressure right back into the patellar tendon. Keep the entire foot glued to the floor. Finally, check your foot placement. A narrow stance where your feet line up straight behind each other forces your joints to fight for balance. Place your feet hip-width apart, as if you were standing on train tracks. Combining precise foot pressure with an active hip hinge removes the wobble. The lunge stops being a precarious balancing act and becomes an intentional contraction of the glute. Now, let's run the second part of the test. Perform 5 more bodyweight lunges, but apply the adjustments. Hinge forward 15 degrees, keep your spine straight, plant the tripod of your foot, and drive up with the glute. Compare this to the first set. You will notice a physiological difference as the braking load shifts away from the front of the knee and settles into the muscle belly of the glute. This highlights a basic rule of human biomechanics. Your knees are built to hinge, bend, and extend, but your hips are designed to generate power. As always, this information is for educational purposes. If you attempt this form and experience sharp pain, swelling, or worsening discomfort, stop the movement immediately and consult a qualified medical professional. Lower body training functions best when the knees perform their specific role without being forced to compensate for underutilized hips. Mastering a movement requires looking past the superficial posture you see in the mirror. It demands an understanding of the invisible tension, joint positions, and muscular control happening inside the body. The next time your knees ache on leg day, check your torso angle first. And to apply this same internal X-ray perspective to fix your squats and push-ups, stick around for our next biomechanics breakdown.